This meeting is being held in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act of the State of New Jersey. Notice of time and place of this meeting was published in the annual meeting calendar and posted on the bulletin board by the city clerk on February 13th, 2025. The 2025 meeting calendar was published in legal advertisements in New Journal, Star Ledger in December of 24. Additional notice of this meeting was faxed to the Bergen Record and the Trenton Times on February 13th, 2025, and to the Star Ledger on February 19th, 2025. Everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call. Commissioner Driscoll.
Present.
Commissioner Glover.
Present.
Commissioner Holloway.
Present.
Commissioner McGady is absent at this time. Commissioner Valardo is absent. Also, the alternates Wolian and Novak are absent. Our Joseph Ryan, is our staff secretary, is here. And our consul, David Ravachevsky. And we do have a quorum, Mr. Secretary. Adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting. We'll take a minute, take a look at them and see if there's any changes, modifications, or additions.
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carried. Review of correspondence. Dr. Ryan?
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. In the original packet that was sent out, there is a comment sheet. Okay. There's a comment sheet dealing with the proposal for 40 Cottage Street. The commissioners had no comment or objection. The packet also contains some forms with instructions from the New Jersey Historic Preservation Office about historic properties, and some correspondence between Chairman Nowicki and Andrea Tingey from the New Jersey State Historic Office. We did receive a request for records under the Open Public Records Act. I just included the record request sheet in the back of your original packet. That was handled, that was dealt with. And I gave out a supplement tonight to the original packet. There's a comment sheet concerning 455-461 Avenue C that was already handled. Now there is a new request for comment in the supplementary packet concerning a proposal to demolish a one-family property that is at 9-11 Ayers Court and to replace it with two new two-family houses on the same property that would be subdivided into two lots. And there's a photo of the existing brick home that's there, and also architectural plans for the two houses that would replace it, and they are identical to each other. And then at the end of the supplement is a two-page listing of historic properties done by district that Chairman Nowicki asked me to include with the packet and distribute to you tonight. So in terms of what's in the second packet, there's one thing that would require action tonight by the commission, and that is any comment on the proposal for 9-11 Ayers Court to replace a one-family house with two new two-family houses.
Okay, thank you. Request for comments from the zoning board and adjustments and planning board. Do you have any of that?
9-11 Ayers Court. Yeah, it has a one-family brick house on it that would appear to be from perhaps about 1960. Thank you. If anyone has any comment, I'll pass it on. If no one has a comment, I'll tell them no comment or no objection. Any comments? No comments?
Is there anything historic about the site?
Not that I know of, no. No.
Okay, well, since there's anything historic about it, I have no objection.
Thank you very much. I'll pass that on to planning and zoning tomorrow then. That's an easy one to handle. Thank you.
Anything else?
Nothing else for me. I'm sure that there may be some comments from commissioners on other items on the agenda, such as update on historic properties, and I'm assuming that Chairman Nowicki would like to discuss this two-page handout listing historic properties by district.
Just hold the chair so I don't push it because I tend to have a lot of weight when I push back. I want to apologize to everyone for being late this evening, but there's so much to do and so little time to do it in that I tend to be late a lot, especially since I got clipped by a car. One of the things I wanted to do at the beginning of this evening's meeting was to call everyone's attention to something that perhaps they all know now. But in case they don't, we have lost during the past month someone who was a great friend of historic preservation and of the history of Bayonne, and that is the watercolorist and lithographer Stephen Szynski. Steve was well known for his lithographs of Bayonne, the scenes of the park, scenes of different houses and structures, schools, etc. And he passed away this past month after a long career. He had ended up in the Pennsylvania in New Hope, the New Hope area of Pennsylvania. And he was a great guy. He was a wonderful man. He was a wonderful husband, a wonderful father. And we are diminished by his passing. So I would call your attention to that and perhaps remember him in whichever way you want to remember him. My thanks to Dr. Ryan for giving out this list. What I've been trying to do is take a look at Bayonne from a district point of view. Jesse William, one of our members, was very interested in districts, and we haven't really done that much with districts over the last couple of years. But I figured if you name them, then people will perhaps start using the names for them. And we have places like Hartley Place, Howard Place, Schuyler Place, the West 8th Street District, which is mostly houses created by Solon Humphreys and his wife, Mary Ellen Walsh. We also have, no, this looks strange. We have houses on Benmore Terrace, Roosevelt Terrace, and we have houses, the Fuller Estate. That Wesley Court was actually a different estate. It wasn't part of the Benmore project. It was part of Colonel Charles Wesley Fuller, who worked with the oil company a lot and was listed as a soldier, a lawyer, a politician, an orator, and New Jersey Superintendent of Public Instruction. So these are all houses that I think are worth taking a look at, worth talking to their owners about, see if any of them would like to, would like to landmark their home, etc. Okay, so Dr. Ryan Ewan and Lee Faley have gone up to, we're up to number 5, right? Update on historic properties. Commissioner Hollaback, would you like to give a report on the St. Andrew's Church, which you've been working on?
Well, St. Andrew's Church was designated as a historic site by the Bayonne City Council last month.
Okay. How did that go? How was the meeting? Did everything go fine?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
It was unanimous. Too bad you weren't there.
I couldn't be there. I was very sick, and I was not able to.
Well, I was
to leave
there,
home.
and it was overwhelming. It was awesome.
No problems.
No problems at all.
Okay.
Well, the law firm for the Archdiocese, they criticized it, but, well, our director, Jay, the law director, he spoke out with their concerns.
Okay, so there's nothing there that needs to be. The only criticism that I had was when I looked at what was turned in, I didn't see the forms that Commissioner Carnuzza set forward to us to be used. So I was wondering why the forms weren't used. Can you speak to that?
Here, before the meeting started, all that I was asked was for a property report, and I gave it, first I gave it to our law representative, David, and then after he read through it, I went to City Council, and it passed through Gary LaPalooza, and he approved of it.
Okay. Well, here's the issue that we have, potential issue going forwards, which is that I don't think any of us think that the Archdiocese is going to change their decision and reopen it as a church. Do you think that will happen?
It may, I don't know. There is a lawsuit. I'm not part of this lawsuit. There are parishioners who have a lawsuit against them. And the Archdiocese can't do anything until that lawsuit is resolved. It was stated at the council meeting.
Okay, that's good. The reason I'm bringing it up is that I thought that the commissioners and the councilman and the mayor, everyone, was interested in seeing if we could come up with a constructive reuse for the property, that it would be used as something else, that the building would continue to exist, but that the parish wouldn't have to maintain it as a church anymore. If that's the case, then what we really want is to be able to get grant money for the building.
Yes, but I think that lawsuit needs to have time.
Okay.
I mean, the parishioners are all for this lawsuit.
Okay.
Even though I'm not part of that lawsuit, I know they're all for it. And it may be a church again. We don't know.
Okay. In case it does not, in case they are looking to sell it and do some kind of constructive reuse, like St. Lucy's in Jersey City, in case they do, then what you really need is to put the information on a new form that's even newer than the ones Carmela had, because that's needed in order to do a SHPO statement of opinion that the landmark is worth preserving. And that would then entitle them to funding. So be aware that this could come back and might need your attention more. You'll have to get onto those forms in order to do that. Okay?
Agreed, but here, the parishioners need to have a chance.
Yeah.
The administrator of St. Mary's, I mean, he's all for selling the property at market value, and here he can't do anything because of that lawsuit.
Okay, no problem. I'm just saying, should it turn out to be that we're trying to look for a constructive reuse, then you will need to put it on the forms. And that's why we have the forms, and regrettably, we had never done a presentation to our new lawyer to explain to him that we had forms. So he didn't know when he was working with you. It would have been good if you had come to Lee or to me or to one of the old-timers on the commission, so you would have known too. But thank you for a job well done. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else you want to report on the other property you're working on?
No, I haven't had a chance to go back to 17 North Street. For the last 3 weeks, I was down with a virus. I'm over it, but that's why I couldn't go back to it.
Do you want to go back to it, or would you like
Yes,
somebody else?
no. I did all that work, and I need to finish what I started.
Okay. Any ideas how much longer that would take?
No,
Well, it's been 3 years, so we're kind of,
no, actually, it's been 2.
only 2?
Yeah, it's been 2.
Okay.
No one's looking to shell that property. No one's looking to come with a bulldozer to knock it down. Then there would be a priority about it, but there's no time sensitivity about that property. It's fine.
Well, I think
And just to let you know, you wouldn't even have that as a nomination if it wasn't for me. I went to the owner, and he knew me from when I lived on Schuyler Place, and I walked my dog Banjo. He knew me from then. He's a very private person. He doesn't look for attention. So here, thanks to me, I'm not tooting my own horn, but thanks to me, you have that as a nomination.
Well, remember, it's on the CRCG report from years ago, and it's all part of the listing of houses from the Solon Humphreys project. It's part of the 25 houses that they erected. So it's already in the district's list.
Yes, but here, they don't own it. The owner of 17 North Street owns the property, and here, he was kind enough to let me go into his home, and we discussed it. He doesn't want any notoriety. A plaque on the front of his house, that's fine. But
well,
other than that, he doesn't want anything else.
Since you haven't been back to him for a while, if you have an issue with him when you go back,
I don't have an issue with him.
if you do, then don't be afraid to come to us. We're here to help you. So please, don't be afraid. Okay, let's go on. Let's go forwards. Future property reports.
Lee and I have something.
Please go ahead.
Lee, do you want to kick us off?
What, Mechanics Trust? No?
No,
Something
no,
else?
something else.
Okay. Go ahead.
Commissioner Driscoll and I are investigating and researching the Bayonne dry dock and repair down at the old MOT. And some basic history about it is that there is articles from March 25th, 1939, and it basically says for warship and airbase, high authorities are offering great advantages, boom for local business would result from action. Acquisition of Bayonne's new port terminal by the Navy for use as an air and seaport together with the possibility that city-owned property here may be purchased by the Navy for construction of a huge dry dock were revealed exclusively to the Bayonne Times today through usually reliable sources. I thought it kind of interesting, it said usually. So that's March 25th, 1939. Moving on to September of 1940, the Senate to vote on dry dock fund. The Senate today received from the House an appropriation which included $15 million for establishment of a naval supply base and building at the world's largest dry dock at Bayonne, New Jersey. The House passed an appropriation measure last night. Moving on to January 27, 1941, the city gets the dry dock. Governor Edison tells the Times. Secretary of the Navy Frank Knox approved Bayonne as the site for the proposed super dry dock in New York Harbor. Governor Charles Edison informed the Bayonne Times of this afternoon. The governor said the Bayonne site has been approved by the Secretary of the Navy. That is for the dry dock, which will be continuous to supply base site. Notice that they have dropped the idea of some kind of airport. Now, Governor Charles Edison is very helpful for Bayonne, not only to get this dry dock built, but he was also instrumental in getting a large contract for the Elko Naval Division to build PT boats during World War II. Eventually, Elko did build 399 of them. Once it was approved and built, became known as the Naval Dry Dock from 1942 until 1967. The U.S. Army took over in 1967 and became known as Military Ocean Terminal, Bayonne Dry Dock and Repair, as it is today. It opened up, began business in 1997. So Jessica, Commissioner Driscoll has contacted the manager there by the name of Brian Cranston, and he said he's going to pass on Commissioner Driscoll's number to the general manager to see what we will hear back. What we're looking for is one building to landmark from the 1940s. So we're going to continue to work on this and try to get at least one building landmarked.
So it would not be the actual functional dry dock, it would be a management or administrative building, that's what you're looking for?
We're seeing what, if anything's left over from the 1940s.
Right.
I also offered that we could come look when it's appropriate for them.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I want to arrange it ahead of time, though.
Yeah,
So-
do you feel that there are structures there that are that old?
They were receptive to it. They said they would look into it, so we'll see what we hear.
Okay, yeah, because it's kind of like the Bayonne Bridge. You don't want to do something that's going to impact modifications that are necessary to handle, the modifications to the bridge were for the new ships, the higher ships passing underneath.
Exactly.
So you can't constrain technology, but you can try to work with it. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Commissioner and I had discussed this. We're thinking maybe there's a locker room or a tool storage building or something that was left over, so that we have at least one building.
An inventory would be nice also. We should probably know what all is there and how many buildings there were there. And as long as you didn't get a no from the property owners, that's a good thing. Because trying to do this with them not wanting it becomes difficult.
Right, right. That was a good sign. At least they didn't say no and kick us out of the thinking of investigating and researching it.
Right. Okay, I do have something, which is that I've been working on a book, a Black History of Bayonne book. And some things have happened recently, which is 4 of the churches in Bayonne have been very forthcoming with information about how their churches started, what issues they faced, what problems they faced. And I think I want to ask Lisa if she would take a look at these and see if any of them appeal to her as things that maybe as landmarks that should be landmarked because of their history. So if you could take a look at that for us, that would be good. I'll send you a copy of what we have. The churches that have responded, I think, are the 4 largest, which is Angelic Baptist, Friendship Baptist, the Wallace Temple, and today we heard back from the Evangelical Gospel Tabernacle. So they have all come forward. Also, Mrs. Councilman Lloyd Booker and his wife have submitted a nice write-up about him and his role in Bayonne history. And several other groups have all contributed text to this. And I just want to make a point that we're going to have like 40 writers by the time we're done with this. So I think you will find that interesting.
I'm sorry, if you have a chance to take a look at the display case outside.
Yeah, they told me.
Yeah, the NAACP put that together, so there's some history there in terms of African Americans and their involvement with the city.
Yeah, I have a call into Neil about, what he had. I think he had a book, I'm sorry, a box of things that were Bayonne. Is this all the Bayonne stuff? Yeah, okay, good. Makes it easier, I don't have to go to Jersey City for it. Okay, let us see. Did we have anything else that bears talking?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that at the most recent city council meeting, the council approved a redevelopment plan involving congregation Ohab Shalem, the Uptown Synagogue, which property is going to be redeveloped. There was a speaker who grew up in the congregation, Renee Sherrill O'Leary, who asked that the building be saved, and if the building was not going to be saved, as a backup, she wanted a plaque, she wanted some kind of memorial activity so that people would remember the synagogue, and the council members expressed an interest in working with her on that, somewhat similar to what happened with the apartment house that replaced the Hi-Hat. That building does have photos and memorabilia in it from the Hi-Hat, so just wanted to mention that.
Cool, excellent. I'm trying to think, has anyone seen anything in the list, in the district's list, that looks interesting to them? And Dr. Ryan, we were asking you about Forrester Place. I was unable to come up with anything historical about Forrester Place. I'm curious as to why it's there, what it's all about, and who the Forresters were. Because Hartley, Howard, Schuyler, we know who all of those people were. But Forrester?
You're mentioning Forrester's, frankly, the first I've heard of it. I know of Forrester's from Jersey City. I don't know anything about Forrester Place in Bayonne, honestly.
Okay. Well, there is a Forrester Place down in the vicinity of some of these other districts, and we simply have not seen anything in our history books about them, so I'm curious about them.
I'll check a few old maps to see if that unearths anything.
Okay. One of the things that I ended up involved in, and I reached out to Jessica and to Lee about, was that as the plans for the Holy Family Academy turning into BEOF go forwards, the BEOF building on 8th Street, the West 8th Street one, is the old Mechanics Trust Bank, which is, I think we decided it's a 1902 structure. Is that correct? I think that was the
approximate date, yeah.
Yeah. It's by Arthur Curtis Longyear, who was a well-known architect from northern New York, who lived in Bayonne. He also produced the bank building on 33rd Street and Broadway. It's a strong, dominant building. It's like a great big piece of granite right in the middle of 8th Street. And I would hate to see it ripped asunder. We have talked about perhaps doing a write-up on that, and them, et cetera. Can you ask the city fathers how they feel about it, or city mothers, city fathers, city parents? Because it belongs, I believe, to the city at this point in time. I think it stopped being a bank in 1934, around 1934, with
Yeah, it was part of the bank holiday.
yeah.
It served as City Hall Annex for several decades.
Right, and had a lot of documentation and information in the basement and stuff. I would like to see it preserved. I think most people who see it would like to say that maybe we can do something for it to brighten it up, cheer it up, save it, and use it for something, something good. So whatever the city has in plans for it, maybe we could take care of that. Okay. Don't mind the delivery. It's something that I was arranging before. So if you can take a look at that, if you can find out, is there any opposition to saving it? We brought you a present. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Let me think if there's anything else. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to talk about? No? No? Do I hear a motion to adjourn for the evening?
Before we adjourn, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to tell everybody that our next meeting will be March 25th.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So be it. Thank you all very much.